At the company party, I felt the weight of judgment as the CEO's wife looked down on me, her gaze sharp and dismissive. I had always felt out of place among the company elite, but this moment stung more than usual. Just then, the CEO took the stage, his voice echoing as he announced my unexpected transfer overseas. A mix of anxiety and anticipation surged within me, leaving me to wonder how this change would affect my life. My name is Will Anderson. I'm 53 years old and work as the head of sales for a jewelry store's headquarters. When I was younger, I thought he worked in a jewelry store, but I've been at this job for 30 years, since I started right out of college, because I enjoy seeing customers smile. No matter how bad my day is, hearing a thank you makes everything worthwhile. In the midst of this, a gathering of employees from other jewelry stores was organized. When my life, which had been going so well, took an unexpected turn. The gathering took place in early October, just as the weather turned chilly. The company rented out a large venue to create an atmosphere conducive to having fun without worrying about work. I was chatting with an employee from another jewelry store. Then my company's president, Charles Brown, and his wife, Nancy, approached. They were both 64 years old, and given that they run a jewelry business, they obviously put a lot of effort into their appearance. It has been a while. How are you enjoying yourself? Thank you, I'm having a great time. How is your wife doing after greeting Brown? I tried to speak with Nancy. However, she remained silent, staring at the champagne glass in her hand. Sorry for that. My wife appears to be in a mood. No, I sincerely apologize if I upset her. No. She just has a habit of going silent when something bothers her. Do not worry about it. I also interact with Brown at work, and I believe he likes me. But Nancy is the complete opposite. She usually falls silent when she sees me. She's been like this since the beginning, so I never know what to do. So I'm going to go say hello to the other company presidents. Thank you for stopping by. I was grateful as Brown walked away. I assumed Nancy would follow him, but it appeared that was not the case. I didn't expect her to speak to me, so I decided to leave first. Madam, if you will excuse me, I will be leaving as well. Hold on. I need to talk to you. Talk to me. It was the first time Nancy had spoken to me. I was surprised, but I tried not to express it. If she started the conversation, it couldn't be good for me. Just as I was thinking that, she smiled and said something unexpected. I would like you to leave the company. What? What do you mean? What happened so suddenly? Actually, there is talk about me taking over your position. I was so taken aback by her unexpected comment that I couldn't even register what she was saying. I've been dedicated to this company since I started right out of college. But Nancy cut it down so easily. There is currently no staff shortage at my workplace. So, unless someone quits, she has no reason to step. This is too much. I have been contributing to the company. Well, it's too late. I have already informed everyone that I'm taking over. But why has Nancy suddenly taken my place? Does the president even know about it? Nancy smirked even more and whispered in my ear. The truth is, we need some extra money, so keep this between us. Okay? As a man who values his family, her shocking words caused me to instinctively step away. I couldn't understand anything she said. Anyway, make sure you get out within 3 months, okay? I'm not quitting. I glared at Nancy, determined. At that point, she poured the beer she was holding all over my head. My rage reached a climax as I glared at Nancy, fueled by the unreasonable situation and the fact that I was soaked. Brown returned from his rounds of greeting. Who are you glaring at? You are being transferred overseas tomorrow. What? Why are you saying that? You've got guts to look at my wife like that. You cannot complain about being transferred. I was glaring at Nancy, but it was because she unexpectedly told me to quit my job. And her reasoning was absurd. To top it all off, I was soaked with beer dripping down my head. Anyone would give a death stare in this situation. Brown, unaware of the full story, had the audacity to inform me that I was being sent overseas. Are you serious? If you want to take it back, this is your chance. Talking like that makes you sound desperate for a transfer. Understood. I won't be returning here. When I said that, Brown and Nancy laughed and made dismissive gestures with their hands. Their reaction, particularly to an employee who had been loyal for years, was unbelievable. As I stood frozen and unable to move, a man in the crowd approached me and said, "Just one thing. You're free now." James Williams, the president of the industry's largest jewelry company, approached me unexpectedly. He is 60 years old, not much younger than Brown, but he has built his empire from the ground up. I looked at President Williams and said, "Thank you for waiting." When Brown and Nancy saw this exchange, they stood with their mouths open, staring at us. They had no idea what was going on. After all, they never expected to speak with the president of the industry's largest company. "Wait, are you saying you know President Williams?" "Yes, we are acquainted. We've had several conversations." "What exactly were you talking about?" Even Brown, who is known for his arrogance, appeared to be unable to stand up to President Williams. He seemed a little uneasy as he questioned me. A crowd had gathered, and it was clear that Brown was being cautious with his words. "Perhaps I should explain," Williams said. "Please do." Brown responded, "Thank you. I've been thinking about recruiting Will for a while now. When Brown and Nancy heard those words, they became even more surprised about recruiting him. Since when and why him? Of course, he is excellent. I believe it was about a year ago that I brought it up. I believe I told Brown that I was considering leaving the company as well. The truth is that about a year ago, I considered changing jobs and informed Brown that I wanted to quit. He persuaded me to stay, saying the workload would increase and they needed me. I attempted to resign several times, but Brown would never allow it. Furthermore, I was unable to find a new job that met my criteria. In the end, I continued working at Brown's insistence, but now he was acting as if he didn't recall me ever wanting to quit. Following that, President Williams approached me about joining his company. I've never heard anything like that. I didn't mention being recruited, but I did tell you I was leaving. What is this, Nancy? Have you heard anything about this? Brown, finally grasping the situation, turned to face Nancy in response to his question. Nancy shakes her head. Nancy technically worked for the company, but she had little involvement in its operations, so it was understandable that she didn't know. But wouldn't it be better if he quit rather than being transferred? Why is that? I will take his place, so everything will be fine. Nancy, who had earlier boasted, began hurriedly explaining, realizing she had not yet mentioned her intention to work in my place. Do you think you can close deals like he does? Of course. I am your wife, am I not? True. If you're my wife, you must be intelligent enough to handle this job easily, right? After being taken aback by the news that I had been recruited by the industry's leading company, Brown and Nancy appeared to decide that she could replace me. So Brown no longer attempted to prevent me from leaving. That's correct. If this is the case, you should probably quit right away. Yes, it appears to be more beneficial to the company in that way. There is no need for any handover, so you don't have to come in starting tomorrow. While I remained silent, the two of them continued the conversation. However, this was exactly what I had hoped for. Because the truth is that I've wanted to leave this company for a long time. Understood. In that case, I will submit my resignation right now. Oh, come on. Have you been carrying around a resignation letter the entire time? Yes. You never know what might happen. I remained as calm as possible while pulling the resignation letter from the inside pocket of my suit. I thought you were quite capable. However, crossing my wife proved to be your downfall. Not only did he glare at me, but he also accused me. Still, what a bad guy. President Williams, what exactly do you see in this guy? Their words were so harsh that President Williams and those around us were visibly taken aback. I've worked for this company for nearly 30 years and have never been humiliated like this before. I had no idea Brown could be so awful. That's why I identified so strongly with President Williams's concept of freedom. I was frustrated that I couldn't quit, but aside from that, I hadn't been too concerned. Now, though, I'm grateful President Williams approached me about the job, so with that settled, I won't be coming in starting tomorrow, right? That is what I have been saying. Or are you simply not that intelligent after all? Please don't say too much in front of everyone. That is not fair. The two of them were clearly eager to get rid of me and start negotiating with designers. He made a half-hearted effort to defend me, but she started it all. If I tried to push back now, I would be completely crushed. President Williams remained silent, probably thinking the same thing I did. Understood. I'll take my leave now. I seem to have caused some tension, so I will excuse myself as well. As President Williams and I started walking out of the event, Brown burst out laughing. He probably thought we were retreating, defeated. It appears that President Williams lacks the ability to recognize talent. It is only a matter of time before we pass them. Exactly. The day we become number one isn't far away. Hearing those words from behind, I couldn't help but turn sharply. I had intended to leave without saying anything, but their arrogance was getting under my skin. And worse, they were mocking President Williams, who had been kind enough to extend me a new opportunity. I couldn't let that go at that point. President Williams mumbled something. "You two have made a big mistake, haven't you? What exactly do you mean by that? Don't you remember? Will is responsible for your company's rise to prominence." Brown stated about a year ago that he wanted the company to grow in popularity. However, because the company lacked a proven track record, no one was willing to do business with them. That's when he demanded that I create an opportunity to improve the company's reputation. I wanted to quit at the time, and I could easily do so now. I could have turned it down. But back then, I couldn't say no to something I was asked to do. Furthermore, there were no offers for recruitment from other companies at the time, so I had no choice but to follow Brown's orders. Things would have turned out differently if I had found a new job at the time. I was able to find shops willing to carry our jewelry by visiting them and securing agreements to sell our products. I also increased the company's presence in online sales. My contributions were significant, and I even planned a collaboration with international artists. However, the deal appears to be off the table now. What? Why didn't you say something earlier? That's dishonest, underhanded. That would be you and Brown, right? Sparks flew between my gaze and Brown's as I arranged a meeting with the famous artist. No formal agreement had yet been reached. Furthermore, the artist liked me personally. There is no guarantee that they will agree to work with Nancy. Fine, I will keep you on until the deal is completed. Okay, that'll work fine. Why are you so arrogant? I've already decided to quit. Do you think you can just quit like that? First, he threatened to transfer me overseas. Then he told me I was fired. And now he's asking me to stay for a little longer. This guy has some nerve. It does not matter what you say. I'm quitting. There are many witnesses here. What? Wait. I need to talk to you. Please calm down. Nancy stepped in, attempting to stop Brown, who appeared to be about to lose it. I wondered what she had to say. Now, I will take over his role. Would that be okay? Is this true? Yes, I'm currently studying English, so I believe I can manage. Brown grinned when he heard those words. Oh, if that's the case, you should have mentioned it sooner. I would not have tried to keep you. Sorry. I had only recently started learning English and was lacking confidence. Okay, no problem. You are no longer needed here. So you can go home. Brown pushed my shoulder, nearly causing me to stumble. Well, let's go. This place is no longer suitable for us. Yes, you're correct. Whatever you say, it all sounds like a loser's howl. President Williams and I exited the venue as Brown's final words were delivered. A week later, I received official notification that my resignation was accepted. When I received the notification, I immediately contacted President Williams and began working at my new job. Because it's the same industry, the majority of the information is familiar, but there is still much to learn. In the beginning, how's everything going? Do you believe you will be able to make it here? I intend to. Thank you so much, President Williams, for recruiting me. I know you are worth everything. Despite his words, I couldn't help but wonder if I was truly helping. But everyone at my new job was so friendly and encouraging, and I felt like I could do my best. About 2 weeks into my new job, I received a phone call in the middle of the day. The caller ID indicated that it was from my old company. I couldn't ignore it in case there was an issue with the resignation, so I responded, "Hello? This is Will. Please, could you return? We are in serious trouble here." It was Brown's frantic voice on the other end. After hearing him out, he discovered Nancy had not been studying English at all. I was told she could handle business negotiations, but it appears she couldn't even hold a basic conversation. Brown had accompanied Nancy to a negotiation with an overseas artist, but she began speaking out of nowhere and using wild gestures to communicate. It was a complete disaster. If things continue like this, we will lose the collaboration agreement. Can you come back? That's a very convenient request. Besides, I am already working for President Williams now. Please, I will pay you. Just handle the negotiations. That is all I ask. Brown had clearly reached out to me because he had no other options. No, perhaps no one is willing to help Brown anymore. Nothing you say will change my opinion. I am no longer your employee. Why are you saying this? I gave you a job for 30 years. Nonetheless, the outcome was quite bad. Don't you remember? Perhaps I had gained some perspective. During this conversation with Brown, I surprised myself by remaining calm. Still, since I was at work, I wanted to end this call as soon as possible. But Brown added something else. Fine, I will rehire you under your terms. How does that sound? Does that imply you'll comply with everything I ask for? I can't promise everything, but I'll do whatever I can. After all, she couldn't speak English, so we had to use translation apps. He was obviously desperate. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saying such things to me after how badly he treated me. I appreciate the offer, but I do not wish to betray President Williams. It's just because the other company pays better, right? You're just a money-hungry person. Money? No, it's not only about that. There's something more important here that you won't understand. I said my piece, but Brown didn't seem to understand. Why should someone like me get caught up in this mess? I am sorry to hear that. However, you might want to consider finding another solution. Is there another solution? Like what? Tell me, I thought. Why do I have to come up with ideas? But I didn't want to get dragged into this any further. I racked my brain for a way out of this situation. For instance, you could hire somebody new. Perhaps you could start learning English yourself. I don't have enough money to hire anyone. And I am learning English. Outrageous. You will not achieve anything unless you put forth the effort. I was curious as to how this man had risen to the position of president of a jewelry company. Then it struck me. Brown was the third-generation president. He most likely grew up without ambition or urgency, inheriting the company as part of the flow effort. That is the purpose of employees. I'm just here to sit and watch. I completely understand what you mean. Please do not contact me again. Wait, we're not finished talking. Brown still seemed to have more to say, but I ended the call. He should feel grateful. I even offered him some suggestions. After all, this has nothing to do with me now. I just hope he doesn't bother me again later. I had the opportunity to meet with the overseas artist to negotiate. According to him, Brown had abruptly attempted to use a translation app, causing panic when the conversations did not progress. The artists declined to collaborate. When the artist found out I worked for a different company, he contacted me. The negotiations went smoothly, and we were able to get everything ready just in time for the product launch. But just as things were coming to a close, Brown, whom I thought I'd never work with again, stormed into my new company. Wes will get him out of here now. I need to speak to him. When I arrived at work in the morning, a crowd had gathered in the lobby, and I could hear Brown shouting. I could not believe he would go so far. Perhaps I underestimated him. I didn't want to get involved, but he was calling my name, so I couldn't say I didn't hear it. With no other option, I pushed my way through the crowd and approached Brown. He turned to me, his face flushed and furious. What do you need? We aren't connected anymore, right? Finally, you're here. I need to talk to you. If this is about artist collaboration. I apologize, but that was your mistake. I assumed he was upset that the collaboration with the famous artist had fallen through and that I had stolen the deal. Understanding Brown's pride, I assumed he was fuming. However, it appeared that he had another reason for storming into the company. That isn't what I want to talk about. Just come out. Wait. Brown quickly walked away, ignoring my attempts to stop him. I had no choice but to explain the situation to President Williams via email, and he responded immediately. He said it was okay, as long as it didn't take too long. So I headed to the park in front of the company where Brown had gone. You finally took your time. So, what exactly would you like to talk about? My wife might be cheating on me. Do you know anything about it? Brown's use of the word cheating caused me to freeze for a brief moment. Nancy, cheating? I'd never heard anything like it before. But wait, I had a clue, didn't I? I remembered the events of the company gathering. Nancy had behaved strangely that night. Maybe the conversation hinted at her affair. Well, I'm not certain. However, she did mention something about needing money, so perhaps that's it. She claimed she spent a large sum on someone. I honestly wasn't sure if Nancy was cheating. She hadn't explicitly stated it, and I wasn't confident in my assumption. However, it bothered me that she had asked me to keep it a secret from Brown. Perhaps she wanted to reduce the possibility of her affair being discovered. I couldn't help thinking that if that was the case, she shouldn't have cheated in the first place. So she's been mocking me the entire time. But do you actually have any proof that she cheated? We aren't sure yet. Right. No, but I could tell something was off. So far, all I've received are her confessions. Brown seemed to have known something was wrong for a while. His face was flushed red, and he clenched his fists tight. So, what are you going to do now? Isn't this obvious? I am kicking her out. This is all there is to it. I see. So in that case, I will be on my way. After everything I had been through, I felt I had done enough by giving advice. I thought I could finally leave the situation. But as I turned to leave, Brown grabbed my arm. Wait, we're not finished talking yet. But haven't you already identified the problem with the cheating after I have gotten rid of her? I'd like to rehire you. What say you? He spoke with a grin, as if this were the main point of the conversation. Brown seemed to have been considering rehiring me ever since he suspected Nancy of having an affair. You would be better off working somewhere familiar, right? Come on, come back. What? What exactly are you talking about? Stop looking down at me. What are you saying? Isn't this a reasonable offer? Brown really thought I'd quit my current job and return to his company. How could he be so naive? Of course it's a bad deal. I told you, did not I? I am not coming back. Wait, hold on. I will give you better terms, okay? Just come back, regardless of what you offer. I am not coming back. I will not betray President Williams. He must have expected everything to go his way in the end, and his expectations for me were clearly high. But after I kept refusing, he reached his limit. Why? Why is everyone abandoning me? Is Williams' company truly that great? Yes, everyone there is kind. And it's a great place to work. Why am I the only person dealing with this? It appeared that Brown believed he was the only one suffering. Why? This is entirely due to your own actions. What have you just said? I'm saying that everything is happening because of your previous actions. It is all coming back to you. Brown became even angrier after hearing what I had to say. This was not going well. Just then, I noticed two police officers approaching from the distance. Several employees had been standing near the company entrance, and they must have seen what was coming and called the police. It appears that the police are approaching. Are you okay with that? Police? Why have they come over here? Because you have been yelling at me for no apparent reason, recognizing that being arrested would be bad. He turned on his heel and quickly walked away. I'm not someone who will be defeated so easily. I get it. However, you should at least try to look ahead once. You're looking down at me. Please wait. This is not over. The police attempted to follow Brown, but after I explained the situation, they decided to leave. Even though Brown said those things, I doubt he'll have time to pursue me. He'll probably be busy gathering evidence of Nancy's affair with the guy she knows. I couldn't help but feel a little sympathy for Brown as I imagined his future, which was bound to be even more difficult. Brown was still in the middle of the park, despite his slow pace. As I watched in elementary school, a ball struck him squarely, causing him to collapse. Right there. Seeing Brown like that made me realize how bad deeds can come back to haunt you. About 2 weeks later, I learned that Brown had actually kicked Nancy out of both the company and their home. Surprisingly, it had little impact on the business, and there were no rumors of bankruptcy. However, the shock of Nancy's affair made it difficult for Brown to concentrate on his work. Soon after his divorce, he began seeing a psychiatrist and gradually became more reliant on medication. As a result, he started falling asleep at work, which got him in serious trouble with his business partners. When his father found out, he decided Brown could not continue as president and forced him to resign. Following that, Brown's father used his connections to appoint a qualified new president. Nancy's affair partner was after her money and dumped her after she was kicked out of the company. In the end, Nancy was devastated by her breakup and became a shadow of her former self. Brown sought damages from Nancy for the losses she caused the company, as well as compensation from both she and her lover for the affair. He did, however, receive full payment. Nobody knows what happened to Nancy after that. Just the other day, I ran into Brown again. It was about 6 months since his last visit to me, and the setting was a park in the city center. While passing by for work, I noticed Brown yelling and drinking beer in the middle of the day. Why the hell are you allowing kids to play here? I am going through a lot right now. The children were terrified, and their parents quickly pulled them away, keeping a safe distance from Brown. It appeared that someone had called the police. As officers approached him, I was too far away to hear what they were saying. It seemed like quite an argument. After some back and forth, the police took Brown away. Since then, I've done well under President Williams. The collaboration with the overseas artist went well, and the company's reputation has skyrocketed. We were already one of the industry's largest companies, but now we have gained international recognition. I'm so glad I recruited you.